What's up everybody? Welcome back to another one of my videos, and in this video we're going to be going over the schedule grid for the first week of the regular season. It's finally here, guys, so I'm excited. I hope you are too. And we're also going to be going over notable free agents that may be in your free agent pool in your league. Alright, so these are the things you need to know for this week. No team plays Monday, well, because the season doesn't start till Tuesday. And no team plays Thursday because it's Christmas Eve, and I think they are trying to push as many good games as possible on Christmas because, that's their showcase. So every team that plays Tuesday will also play Friday and Sunday, and that includes the Warriors, the Nets, the Clippers, and the Lakers. Now, we have several teams that only play twice this week, and those are Atlanta, Denver, Detroit, Houston, Memphis, Miami, Oklahoma City, Portland, Toronto, and Utah. And it kind of sucks because we're finally back into playing basketball, and we want to see a lot more games than just that many teams just playing two. But it is what it is. Now, every other team, though, plays 3 times this week, so I mean that's something to look forward to. And we have a lot of teams that are playing back-to-backs this week, which is kind of crazy, being it's the first week of the season, but I'm okay with it. So those teams include Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland, Indiana, Minnesota, New York Knicks, Orlando, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Sacramento, San Antonio, and Washington. Now, the interesting part about this is every one of these teams plays their back-to-backs on the weekend, so Saturday and Sunday. So this is important to know because if you're going to be streaming players, you want to use your streams, I don't know, your waivers up early in the week. So you want to try and pick up some for Tuesday, but that won't count against you if you do it before Monday or before, because the counter doesn't come in until the week actually starts. So it won't start until Tuesday. But you definitely want to pick up some for Tuesday. Odds are your team's filled for Wednesday because most teams play Wednesday. But then you also really want to use that the waiver counter for Thursday and Friday, maybe even twice for one of those 2 days if you like a matchup. And the last part of the schedule notes that I have is Brooklyn and the Lakers have their back-to-backs on Sunday to Monday. So that's something to focus on, something to be aware of. If you, even if you're full on Sunday, you may have someone on your bench that you might not need, but it would be useful for you to pick up, if not on Sunday, for Monday. So maybe you could use this week's waiver wire on a player that plays on Monday, or even possibly try and pick up someone who for a team that plays its back-to-backs on a Monday and Tuesday, which I don't know if anyone's doing that. All right, moving on. So in this segment, we're going to be going over free agents that might be available in your leagues. So every player I have listed here is rostered 60% or below on ESPN leagues. And so I'm thinking these guys would be good pickups for standard leagues. And they include Jared Allen, who's at 59%. Now, Allen would be good for a double-double, maybe a block here or there. Good field goal percentage, not the best free throw shooter. So you have to be aware of that. Rashad Holmes is going to be right in the same categories as Jared Allen, but he's only at 55%. And he's also in a timeshare with Hassan Whiteside. So you want to pay attention to that because if he gets a lot of minutes, he might be a big-time sleeper in the free agent pool. So you definitely want to pay attention to see if he gets 28 to 30 minutes a night, because that could be the different, if he only gets 22 to 25 minutes, he might just get one block. But if he gets 28 to 30, that might be like 1.5 blocks, 1.7 blocks, which is very valuable. The next man up, I'm actually surprised about, which is RJ Barrett. Now, he's available, or excuse me, he's rostered in 53% of leagues. And he's the Knicks' #1 option. And I know he's still young. He's only 20 years old, and he's on the Knicks. But like I said, he's the #1 option on a team that's going to be losing a lot, and he's had several months to get his shot fixed. No, not his shot, like just to build his game is what I'm trying to say. He's been off since February, March, somewhere in that area. So he's had about 10 months to get better, and if he doesn't get better now, that's things are gonna be looking bleak for the Knicks for the foreseeable future, in my opinion. All right, so next man up on my list is Marvin Bagley, who's only rostered in 47% of leagues, which I'm actually very surprised about, considering in his first 2 years. I know he's had injury problems, but in his first 2 years, he's only started 10 games, but his career averages are 16 and 7.5 rebounds and like close to a block with pretty decent percentages. I think his field goal percentage is good, and his free throw percentage won't kill you. I think it's close to 70 as well. So I'm very surprised that a lot of people aren't taking advantage of grabbing Bagley in their leagues, as he has high upside. If he could just stay healthy, same thing with like Michael Porter Jr., who's been going in the 5th or 6th rounds in a lot of leagues. So again, you may want to take a second look in your free agent pool, see if Bagley is there, and maybe pick him up, especially if you have like a pretty bad last round guy. Next man up on the list is Thomas Bryant, who's also only in 47% of leagues right now. Now, I'm personally surprised about that, and he's had a pretty good preseason. And I think his game's going to be really good with Russell Westbrook as his point guard. They should have a lot of good pick and rolls together. And not only that, I just feel like he's still young, so his upside's still high, and he should still improve coming into this season. He should easily, well, I shouldn't say easily, but he should come close to averaging a double-double. And, and he should be over a block a game. And I'm not sure what his percentages would be, but I'd have to imagine his field goal percentage is good. Maybe his free throws percentage won't be that good, but still definitely worth picking up, especially if you have someone on your team you just like joked around with and picked up on the last round or something like that. Definitely a guy I would pick up on my team if he was on the free agent pool. Next up is Mason Plumlee. So like he's only rostered in 43% of leagues, and I kind of understand that because he's not really well known, and probably a lot of people don't realize that he's actually starting for Detroit this year. So he's somebody that even if you don't want to pick up, you definitely want to put on your watch list and see what he can do in the first couple of games, and then maybe pick him up. Next up is PJ Washington, who's also rostered in 43% of leagues. Now, he almost hit the 1-1-1 mark last year, and that's pretty rare. And as a rookie, that's really nice to see. His minutes should be up there, and he should also be improving coming into the season. And yeah, I can't think of anything bad with him. I can't think of what his percentages are off the top of my head, but I do know he'll give you all-around stats. Good points, good threes, good, he's going to be close to a steal, close to a block, get you some rebounds, maybe not the assist category, so oh well. And I can't remember what his percentages are off the top of my head. I really can't. So sorry about that, guys. You might have to look him up though and see if he's in your leagues, because he's definitely someone you want to watch out for. Now next up is Dillon Brooks, who's only rostered in 32% of leagues, and I can see him being a free agent in a lot of leagues, as even though he did well in the bubble, he's a two guard that if he's not going to hit his threes, has limited value. Now he does a little bit more than that, and he's good from the free throw line, but overall, unless he really breaks out, I would probably let him go. But I just want you guys to be aware of Dillon Brooks being rostered in only 32% of leagues. Next up is Wendell Carter Jr., who is on my team, and he's only rostered in 26% of teams. Now, the reason why I'm so high on Carter this year is because he had Thibodeau for his first couple seasons, and now he has Billy Donovan, a really good head coach, And when I say really good head coach, I mean he's really good at developing young players, and he's going to bring a different style, and he's going to get his bigs way more involved in the offense. And what I noticed in preseason, I don't think I kind of hope it doesn't carry over into the regular season. Is Carter Jr. has been shooting a lot of threes. Now maybe just for preseason, just to try and get acclimated a little bit. But the one game I even saw him shoot 7 threes. Now he didn't make any of them, but he shot 7 of them. So that just goes to show you that the bigs, particularly Carter Jr., is going to have more leeway in the offense and more he's going to help out more, which may lead to more overall stats, which would be a really good thing. So definitely want to keep an eye on Carter Jr. Next up, I have OG Anunoby. Now he's only rostered in 26% of leagues, and he's starting for Toronto. He's improved his stats every single year since he's been in the league. And even though he's been starting, he started last year as well, but Toronto was loaded with forwards. And they just had a loaded team. And this year's a little bit different. They lost Serge, they lost Marc Gasol. So maybe he gets more touches this year. And that's what I think is going to happen. And if that does happen, his usage should go up. And if that does happen, he's just going to have overall better stats. So definitely someone else to keep an eye on. Next up is Darius Garland, who's only rostered in 20% of leagues. Now, I'm really surprised that more people aren't taking a late round flyer on him. I did, personally, because first off, he was the 5th overall pick in last year's draft, and he's on Cleveland. So it's him and Sexton. Love's going to shoot a little bit, but it's him and Sexton. Those are the guards. Those are the guys who are going to make the plays. And I want to see. I personally took a late round flyer on him because he's going into a second year, which is where a lot of rookies sophomores. That's where a lot of NBA players grow the best, or the most, I should say. And I have the highest of upsides for Garland this year because he averaged well last year too. He averaged 12, 4, and maybe 2 rebounds, and I could just see him doing a lot better this year. All right, so next up is Derek White, who's only rostered in 15% of leagues. Now I kind of understand that because he's injured right now, but you definitely want to pay attention to White because once he gets healthy, and once he gets reacclimated with his team, he's going to start. I don't know what kind of numbers he's going to put up, but he should be an all-around good player, good point guard to plug in, especially if you need a guard. So same thing with Garland. You need a guard, watch Garland, watch White. And speaking of guards, Cole Anthony, who's only rostered in 10% of leagues, is an interesting one because before preseason started, I was thinking Fultz, who's starting for the Magic, and Cole Anthony is on the Magic. He was drafted by the Magic, and he's the backup point guard. I thought Fultz was just going to have no backup competition, nothing. If he struggled, he was just going to be the guy. But Cole Anthony's been shining in preseason, so if Fultz starts to struggle, they might turn to Cole Anthony and see what he can do. So don't be surprised about that, and pay attention to Fultz. Pay close attention to Fultz because if he starts struggling, Cole Anthony, you may want to pick him up before he gets that starting job or any kind of opportunity like that, or maybe he eats into Fultz's minutes. Next up on my list is Deandre Hunter. Now, he's only rostered in 6% of leagues, and I know what everyone's been saying. Don't trust the Hawks. Don't trust the Hawks. And I get it. But the reason why I like Hunter personally is because he's slotted in at the 3, and Bogdanovic is slotted in at the 2. He's starting at the 2, and then Gallinari is more of a power forward. He's like a tweener between small forward and power forward, but he's going to play mostly at the power forward position, which leaves Deandre Hunter starting at the 3, and he's going to get a lot of opportunities. Trae Young is going to find him a lot. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to shoot 3s. So it's basically how much did Hunter improve during the offseason. because if he improved a lot, he's going to be worth the pickup. All right, and last up on my list for standard leagues is Jeff Teague, who's only rostered in 4%, which I'm really surprised about because he's going to have a lot of minutes going his way as long as Kemba's out. When Kemba comes back, yeah, he belongs on the free agent pool. But starting the season for the first month or so, Teague should definitely warrant a spot on a lot of teams' rosters. There's definitely a lot worse out there than giving Teague a roster spot right now. All right, so moving on to the free agents for deeper leagues. So this is going to be, I put these guys under the deeper leagues category as they only have, they're only rostered in 30% of ESPN leagues. So I figured these guys would only be on deep leagues. So the first up I have is Jordan Clarkson, who's only at 20%. Now he's a guard on Utah, and he's going to give you points, going to give you good free throw shooting. He's going to hurt you in the field goal percentage, but he's also going to give you a couple threes a night. So he's a good specialist in that regard, a lot like Lou Williams, just not at that level. Next up, you have Joe Harris, who's also rostered at 20%. Now, Joe Harris, if you're looking for threes, good percentages, and a decent amount of points, he's your man. Outside of that, you'll be lucky to get anything else out of him, especially in the defensive categories. Next up, you have Marc Gasol, who's only rostered at 18%. So he's starting for the Lakers, starting center. He should probably not going to do too much in points because LeBron, AD, Kuzma, they're loaded with options on the Lakers. But he should give you a good portion of rebounds. And I think he's going to be like a sneaky assist free agent guy because he's a good passer. He's always been. And he won't hurt you in he'll probably be all right in field goal percentage, and he won't hurt you in free throw percentage either. All right, next up we have Aaron Baines, who's only rostered in 16% of leagues. He's going to be starting for Toronto, and I'm going to imagine he's going to be close to that double-double range. Probably like 12 or 13 points, 8, maybe 9 rebounds, a block, a 3, and he's not going to hurt your percentages either, which is good. Next up, I have Will Barton on my list at 15% of leagues having him rostered. Now, I'm surprised he's only rostered in 15% of leagues, but I'm also not surprised because last year, even though he had a lot of minutes and his points were decent, his fantasy value just wasn't there. But that was because they had Jeremy Grant. Now, Jeremy Grant's gone, so his usage rate's going to go up. So he's definitely someone you want to pay attention to in the deeper leagues. Or he might even be able to make the standard league roster, but time would tell on that. Next up, we have Talon, Horton, Tucker, who's only rostered in 10% of leagues. Now, I'm personally not high on him, but I know a lot of people are because he had such a great preseason. I don't know what the Lakers are going to do with him, but if he gets a strong backup role or possibly starts when LeBron sits, then he's definitely worth a streamer type of play. Next up, we have Rajon Rondo, who's only rostered on 6% of teams. Now, I have him because he's backing up Trae Young, and I get it. He's going to be a backup. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get, but I at least feel like he should be noteworthy because if he does get 15, well, even 15 won't be enough, maybe in deeper leagues, which is why I have him on here. But if he gets 15 to 20 minutes a night, if he gives you like 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal, that might just be good enough to warrant a streamer play on with Rondo. Next up, we have Enos Kanter, who's only rostered in 4% of leagues. Now, he's the backup. Oh, man. I'm blanking on Kanter right now. Where is he? I want to say Portland. Yeah, he is on Portland. Yeah. He's on Portland because Harry Giles is behind him, and if Giles played, I would definitely have him on the list. All right, so Enos Kanter is backing up Nurkic. Now he's a backup, but he's always been good on the offensive end, and 2 things he's been really good at is getting you points, strong field goal percentage, and rebounds. So if that's what you need, Enos Kanter is someone you want to look into, because even though he's not starting, he should still be able to be close to that double-double average with good field goal percentage. Next up, I have Bobby Portis, who's only rostered in 3% of leagues. And the only reason I have Bobby Portis on this list, I just think he's noteworthy because he had such a strong preseason. And I don't know how Milwaukee will use him. You know, they have the Greek Freak, and pretty sure he's backing him up, so I don't think he's going to get a lot of playing time or much usage. But if something were to happen, Bobby Portis is definitely someone you want to pick up. Like if Giannis sits out a game or gets injured, or if Brook Lopez gets injured, Bobby Portis is the play. All right, last man up is George Hill, who's only at 2% rostered. Now this one I'm really surprised about. I thought a lot more fantasy owners would have him on their teams because A, he's in Oklahoma City, and B, there's no one in Oklahoma City. So he's not starting over SGA, but he's going to be the first man off the bench. He's going to be the sixth man for Oklahoma City Thunder, and he should be able to get a lot of minutes, and he should be playing with Shea a lot. So I can't imagine him not getting anything less than 27 minutes a game. And he's a combo guard. Like, he could play with Shea, he could play on the ball, like with the ball or off the ball. It's either or, it doesn't matter. And I think he's going to have a good season for fantasy in Oklahoma City. All right, guys, remember, make sure you like this video if you found it informative, and make sure to subscribe if you want more fantasy basketball content, as I'll be doing this all season long. All right, guys, that'll be it for me. Have a good night.